Jai Hind, Namaste, welcome to Galp Taru, the Tree of Stories, which is a celebration of Indian folktales. My name is Ambalika and I am an author and storyteller, and Galp Taru, my special initiative, is my personal tribute to the storytelling culture of India on the occasion of the 75th year of Indian independence. Thank you so much for being with me on this journey since I started in January this year, and I look forward to seeing you as we go forward. We've got a long way to go. Saffron strands, chinar trees, pashmina shawls, kahwa, kangri, rogan josh. Which place am I talking about? Exactly, the holy land of Kashmir or Kashmir. Kashmir's association with storytelling is timeless. In early times, when people of the villages had to spend the entire night weaving shawls or yarns, they would invite the Dalili gods or the storytellers as they are known in the Kashmiri language to come over to their homes or the villages in such cases and entertain them through the night as they worked. Even in cities, the rich would invite the Dalili gods to entertain them during winter when there was hardly anything else to do from an entertainment point of view. Kashmiri folk literature is deeply rooted in spirituality. All of their stories and songs stem from their spiritual beliefs. Case in point is the famous folktale Akka Nandun, which emphasizes a lot on self-sacrifice. Like all other folktales, Akka Nandun also spread by word of mouth. It was mostly narrated in the Sanskrit language until in the 15th century, Bahadur Ganai wrote it down in the Kashmiri language. This was around the same time that the Persians arrived on scene. And ever since, the characters of the story came under the influence of the Shaivite philosophy and the Islamic tasawwuf, and so have been refined, even though the overall plot remains the same. However, if you search for popular Kashmiri folktales today, the one which is going to pop up the most is Himang Nagarai. This is a beautiful folktale. It has its resonance in folktales in other parts of the world and even in India. But I personally feel it has a lot of semblance towards the story of Romeo and Juliet. Yes, there is romance, there's a lot of depth happening. But leaving all that aside, if we look at where this story might have stemmed from, then the origins lie in the serpent worshipping traditions that are prevalent in some parts of Kashmir, especially regions where there are large water tanks or springs found, namely Neel Nag, Sheshram Nag, Kosar Nag, Anant Nag. So that Nag tag is an indication that that's where serpent worship is going to be found, and there are large springs also to be found. One interpretation based on this of this story is that this talks about the union of two different races, one of the Aryans and the second of the Nagas. A second interpretation is union of two different kingdoms, Himal, the Jasmine princess, and Nagrai, the prince of serpents. And there is a third interpretation which talks about union between two different religions. This folktale was written down in the 1880s, late 1880s, by the British missionary James Hinton Knowles when he was posted in Kashmir by his church. And he heard it from a local Kashmiri Pandit, noted it down, and in 1893 he published it in London under the title Folktales of Kashmir. And I got to read about it when I was in class 2 in this book, which I won as a prize for storytelling. The second thing that the Persian culture did was to take away the spiritual elements from the Kashmiri folk literature. You see, like we mentioned earlier, there is a lot of spiritual and mythological motifs in the folk tales, folk songs and folksy things of this region, but the Persian culture just eliminated them. Case in point is the Kashmiri bhajan Harmukh Bartal. Harmukh is a mountain peak in the Bandipora district of Jammu and Kashmir. The original Hindu name for this peak is Haramukhuta. Mount Haramukhuta is how it was known, but the anglicized name is Harmukh. So it's gradually, in fact, I wouldn't exactly say anglicized, but yeah, the modified name is Harmukh. So now it is Mount Harmukh. And for the Kashmiri Pandits, Mount Harmukh is the abode of Lord Shiva, and they have a hymn which is believed to be sung by goddess Parvati to Lord Shiva, expressing her deep love for him and her readiness to wait for him at the gates of this mountain. And as she sings, she also sings about the pain of the separation she experiences at being away from him. So there's a lot of deep divine romance being reflected in this bhajan. However, for the Kashmiri Muslims, this is just a romantic ballad. So all divinity has gone out of it. It has transitioned from being a song of divine romance to just pure mortal romance. So that is how the Kashmiri folk culture changed quite significantly under the influence of Persian culture. But all that is in the past, and today Kashmiri Pandits around the world are working hard towards repopularizing their folk tales. And through Galp Taru also, we are going to make a little bit of contribution in that direction by listening to a folk tale from Kashmir this week. So what do you think is it going to be? Himan Nagrai? Oh well, I would very much love to do it. But how about we listen to something which is different and yet very exciting. So what I have chosen for this week is the laughing fish. Yes. Now a little bit about fish and Kashmir. You would have heard of mutton, rogan josh and all that meaty stuff. How about some fishy stuff? Kashmir has a wonderful delicacy named fari, which is smoked fish, but it is not the usual run-of-the-mill smoked fish. A lot of effort goes into actually smoking up this fish, and it begins with first frying that fish. And you need a special kind of grass to actually smoke it through, and it has to smoke through the night to be ready for consumption. Unfortunately, in today's time, this fari is not very readily available, in the sense that not in the way it has always been prepared. You might find a variation in its preparation to find it, but still do check it out if you do have an opportunity. And I'm already feeling pretty excited. I'm a very fishy person, pun intended. Not really. So while you feel the excitement and want to run away and try fari, just give me a second more so that I can tell you that now I too am off to prepare for the story, The Laughing Fish. And before you and I turn on the camera and move on, do hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification so that when the story comes live, you don't miss it. I'll see you soon. Until then, thank you. Namaste. Vande Mataram.